On this episode of Grace to Grow, we're going to be talking about let's be perfect. I'm not perfect, Ken is not perfect, and over the past 23 years, our marriage definitely has not been perfect. But we can be perfect in Christ, and we can learn to do perfect things to help our marriage grow. So would you like to share a few of those things?
Yes, before we jump right in, we do always want to say that there are other platforms that has great content, and we just want to add to it, hopefully something that is shared on the Grace to Grow blesses you, causes you to grow and move forward. So in this segment, Dee and I are going to have a word play on the word perfect. At a point in time in our marriage, there are some things that we was perfect at that we shouldn't have been. We was perfect in arguing, perfect in not
encouraging each other.
Encouraging each other. And so our first point, let's pursue perfection in being positive, David, saying something positive to one another.
And I know sometimes we need to be intentional, because I know for me, some days I don't have anything to say. You know what I said? If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
So that explains why I was quiet a lot early on in our marriage. But seriously, we do need to be more positive and encouraging and lifting each other up, even on our bad days. Because what better person that can encourage you?
Yeah.
It should be me. So we definitely gotta, hey Ken, I think you're an awesome husband, and I love those guns.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. So definitely pursue perfection and saying something positive on a daily basis.
Okay. Also, let's be perfect and not allowing disagreements to disrupt the peace in our home.
Yes.
Can you share on that?
Absolutely. Disrupting the peace in our home. Dee and I, in our conversation with each other, we know when we're at peace, we know when it's about to shift. And so we try not to allow whatever we're talking about to take us away from that peace. And once again, Dee mentioned intentional. These things are intentional. These actions and these words and these conversations are like seeds. And once if you started yesterday, you consistently plant those seeds, eventually the fruit are gonna come to where you pretty much have perfected how to maintain peace in your home.
I know for me, a great example is, it could be something that we've had an argument about. I'm on my way home from work. I've rehearsed in my mind a full-blown conversation that me and you're gonna have and can't wait to get home. And I was just running the house and just running. And it was just like, you were just standing there and it was just, you're at peace. And at the moment it made me mad, but I appreciate that looking back, because you didn't allow my frustration disrupt the peace in the home.
Yeah.
So it caused me to kind of calm down and be like, okay, let me step back and handle this a different way. So when the next time came along, I did still have some of those conversations in my head, but I approached you a different way.
And this is really a golden nugget. When I came across this revelation of learning that, the word says, husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church. And so, we the Christ, we the representation of Christ. So in that moment, I had to represent the word. I could match Dee, and I have. By no way that I had this down, but once I realized that if I remain peace, I can lead her to a place of peace. And I just kept doing it and I saw the fruit from it. Eventually she gravitated to that place, and so we began to see the fruit, and we can live that a little bit more. So definitely take time to realize what disrupts the peace in your home and pursue perfection and telling it to get out the way. All right. So our next point is be perfect in pursuing learning how to say heartfelt I love yous. If you're in the church scene and Christians, we pretty much, hey brother, I love you. Hey sister, I love you. And I believe majority of the time those are heartfelt and genuine I love yous. But in the marriage relationship, in the home, we it takes us a minute to get there, and it should be. We should take a minute to regain our composure, get our posture together, and really say, okay, look, hey babe, I love you, even after a disagreement.
And I think too, just being able to say I love you and truly mean it, because our spirit picks up on it.
Yeah.
You know, we can say, you know, we love our dog, we love shopping. I know I do, but you know, our spirit picks up on it.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we got to be a little bit more, and we're going to say this so much, let's be more intentional with saying I love you and truly meaning it.
Yeah, and we firmly believe being intentional. Once again, you won't see that fruit immediately, but if you're consistently sowing these behaviors and sowing those words, that it is going to come. The fruit from it is going to come, and you're going to enjoy it. So, you ready for the next point?
Sure. I know you're ready for it.
Yes.
This is one of Ken's favorite. Be perfect in showing affection towards one another.
Absolutely. Let me just get in there. How I receive affection is touch, and so grabbing the buttocks like this of my wife, kissing her on the neck, hugging her, seeing her smile, I gain my most affection from that. It's just, you know,
Yes,
it lights me up. It makes my day. But for her, it's not. So for her, it's totally the opposite for me, sitting on the sofa, looking in her eyes and listening to the details of her conversations about her day. I just rather pull the hair out of my chin than to sit there and do that. And I know Dee feels the same way sometimes when I'm grabbing her. So we have to come to a balance, and I have to be intentional in listening to her and being attentive to her conversation. I think I've worked on that somewhat pretty good.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. But in all, we just gotta, you know, a lot of times we get away from dating each other. Once we get married and not showing that affection to one another. So we just gotta be mindful of, you know, what does affection looks like to me, and then what affection looks like to you.
And I think the greater point is that sometimes we have to move out of the way and give the other person what they need. Once we know what a person needs, that helps them to grow. It's like you do not starve a baby. You do not give that baby food. You know what it needs in that moment, and you give it, and it causes them to grow, and it satisfies them. So I satisfy you when I'm attentive and listening.
Okay. All right.
So our next point is be perfect in controlling the temperature in your home.
That can go so many different ways.
Yes, but just for one point is what we call the temperature in your home is that peace or joy or kindness. Whatever I give Dee, if I give her frustration, guess what? That temperature is going to be high on frustration. I believe the woman cultivate whatever you give them. I can give the ideal about a business, and she coming back with plans and how to get the website up. So me and we are seed. We ain't gonna multiply it. We just put it in the soil, and then it's the wife that tends to have the ability to multiply whatever you give her. So
I think too is when we're talking about temperature, also setting the atmosphere in our home. So, you know, whether it's our in-laws or friends or other family members coming in, you know, we can't let them disrupt the temperature of our home, the atmosphere of our home. And I think even in our bad days, we always set those boundaries. And I think we did a good job of maintaining a good temperature and atmosphere in our home.
Yeah, and then just a key point too, that both of you have to have the mindset and the understanding of what that looks like and what they feel like. And once you know what it looked like and what it feel like, you both can work on it and help maintain it. It does me no good if Dee is trying to maintain it by herself and I'm the one that constantly breaking that barrier. So have an idea what it looks like and what it feels like, and be confident to say, we approach people, we'll hug them, and we intentionally create that environment. Okay, so our next point.
Be perfect in choosing to be happy.
Okay.
A lot of times that, people correlate that with things gotta be happening for us to be happy. Although we pursue wanting to have joy, you said it perfectly. We have there's a choice. We choose to either be happy, or we can choose to be stuck, be frustrated, be disappointed. Obviously, there's things that go on in our life that we do have to work through some things, but it's up to us to decide whether we're gonna stay in that lull and choose not to be happy.
Yes,
or we can forgive, we can move on, we can learn from that situation and just be happy. Life is too short for us to just stay in a cycle of just being mad about something.
And just being transparent. And like Dee said, it is a choice. And that, when something happens, you have to be mindful to say, hey, I have a choice. You have the good conscience and the bad conscience. Which one is going to speak louder? So be mindful and just say, I choose to go back to that happy place. So our next point.
Okay. Be perfect in pursuing love and respect in your home.
That is a good one.
I can't wait till we're gonna have an entire segment on love and respect, because that's deep.
Yeah. Everyone talks about unconditional love, and that means that we're gonna love beyond the conditions or the current conditions that we're in, because it's unconditional. That means it has no request or no demand. But however, there are two conditions that are in Ephesians 5:25. I think that's the address. But love is a condition. Husband, love your wife. If you're not loving her, guess what? You're not going to receive the respect that the wives have to give to the husband. And then I believe that it is a self-conscious action. If Dee is not getting what she needs from me, guess what? She's not going to automatically give what I need. And so we have to be intentional to realize, what does love look like to Dee? So I have to be perfect in pursuing what it looks like. And vice versa, she has to be perfect in pursuing, well, what does respect look like to Ken? And give him what he needs. So
absolutely.
Love and respect.
I love you.
Respect.
I respect you.
Okay. And I love you.
Okay. Now, moving on. This is my favorite. Now, Ken's favorite was affection. My favorite is be perfect and, say it with me, listening to each other. And I must say, you've done a phenomenal job. You're doing a whole lot better. So I appreciate that. But being perfect and listening to each other. And that means not just listening to what is coming out your mouth, but also we have to learn to listen to each other's heart. Because we're gonna have those bad days where we're speaking out of frustration. And we can't take it personal. I know your heart is not to intentionally hurt me. So sometimes, even if in the moment you may say something or get loud or something, I can't take that to heart. So I gotta listen carefully, not just to what you're saying, but also to your heart.
That's good. A thought come to me. We can't let one, outburst dictate the rest of the moment. So yes, listening. Just like I said earlier, I'd rather just pull the hair out of my chin, but it's honestly, if that's what she needs, I tell you what, the good thing about it, I know what she needs. A lot of times we don't know, and there's no way we can give her or we can give our spouse what they need if we don't know. So I know listening is one of the things. So guess what? I try to pursue it. All perfection.
I know, real quickly, remember when we used to have these conversations and I come to you and be like, hey Ken, I want to share something with you. And you went quickly into like fixed mode. And I'll be like, no Ken, I just want you to listen. So we find that when we have a lot of conversations with couples, that the men tend to want to be fixers. But ladies, it's our job to let them know, hey, I just need for you to listen. I don't need for you to fix this. Just be there to listen. And I know for us, it kind of calms you down. Like, okay, let me just listen to her. Because I can see sometimes the wheels just turning, where you're ready to fix, which I appreciate. But sometimes we have the answers. We just need to talk it out.
Absolutely. And that was a tremendous help for me. Once I know what is needed, it's easy for me to give it. But when we don't know, we automatically give what our nature know what to do. Now, once you say, Ken, I just need you to listen, guess what? I put on the best listening mode I can. So, all right. So our next point is be perfect in giving the other person grace to grow.
Yes.
This is
something we learned over the last few years. Yeah. We definitely didn't have the grace for each other early on. Yeah. But we have to be each other's support system. We have to forgive each other. We have to be able to give each other the space and the time to grow. And I think over the last few years, we've definitely done a great job at that.
And here's what it looked like for us. I know for me, I had to give Dee grace to grow is when I seen an area that it made me like, man, you need to fix that. Instead of going to her and standing that way, I tell you the biggest test of knowing your love and your heart for the person, if you are able to get on your knees and consistently pray for them about the area that you see they may need some growth, or the area that you see that it may be a challenge for them. And when you're able to do that, then it's cultivating your heart. No matter what, Dee could be angry, frustrated, or aggravated at me. There's not a time for me to let her know about her the things that I see. The time for me to do is just listen, and then and pray, and being able to show her grace for those areas that I think she may need some growth in, and then vice versa for me. She's like, well, man, I see this, Ken. It's not that we can't share with each other, but pray about it a couple of times and make sure your heart is right. Sometimes we try to go to our spouse because we know we had that argument yesterday. I think I might need to get up on her today, and let me just point out this little thing, and we let's practice on showing that grace.
So again, in this episode, talking about let's be perfect. We as individuals can't be perfect, but we can pursue perfect things in our marriage to help us grow.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you for listening. Stay tuned for future videos. Like always, we hope something that we shared really encouraged you and has helped you to move to a better and healthier place in your relationships, or whatever the content we share at that moment. We hope it always blesses you. Thank you.
And grace to grow.